about. Um, and that's just what's going on, guys. We're gonna let people just straggle in. This is still pretty early. I'm still finishing up the charts. I'm running a little bit behind, but that's okay because we can still start talking about what the topic at hand is tonight. Because what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna have to just do several separate streams. Primarily because we just can't talk about everything in every stream. I would like to, but it's just not possible. No matter how much I want to, it's just not possible. So we're gonna break the streams up. We're gonna make them topical, so we're not talking about everything during every stream, and that'll also help us kind of curtail the length of the streams as well. Not so much curtailing the length of the streams, but so that we're keeping the topics that matter at hand within the conversation, and we're not diverging from one thing to the next. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like, conversations that run around in a circle. So my objective is to try to have as many streams as required in order to have the right information being relayed at the right time. Of course, with HEX and HEX charts being included, because what is a day without some HEX charts, right? But in the meantime, we will just have a nice little light convo about hold on, because people from the other chat are writing. But yeah, so it's just about understanding the money system more than everything. This is literally going to be like the basis of the foundation of macro that you're going to get today. Understanding how banks work, how banks make money is really important. This is really what helps us understand what these central banks are doing. And again, this is really just a very, very light touching. This topic can get so in depth that I really can't realistically cover everything in one stream. The best thing I can do is just kind of graze over the topic in as much detail as possible, but with relevance to the topic at hand, which is investing and for the future, right? We're all looking to invest for the future as well as generate supreme returns, right? Because it's so easy to just buy SPY, or let me rephrase, it's so easy to just buy any regular old passive equity investment nowadays, but that, there's a reason that's so easy. And with that, it's important to understand that when you're kind of in a boat, that when you're able to do something that's so easy that anybody can do it, odds are that there's no value in doing it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that easy. And that's something that's very important to understand. What's going on, Valley? What's going on, Mitchell? What's going on, T-Dot? Identity Block. Thank you guys for coming through. Crypto Games Club 369. Thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate you guys. I'm still working on the charts. I like watching Maddie's streams now. The time change has really messed up the timing of things. I'm not sure if Maddie's going to be able to join me, but he has an invitation. If anybody in the chat would like to join, let me know. I'll send you guys a link to join. But my goal with the macro streams is to just make it strictly macro focused and related to macro. Not I don't like having, I'm trying to have constructive conversations about HEX and how it really fits within the global macro landscape. Because it really is, and now that you guys can kind of see what I've been saying for a long time, now that Richard has kind of realized the superiority of HEX, because HEX is literally superior to everything else. And it's not to say it because I own it. It's just because it's true. And again, it's if you've been around crypto long enough, and that's just, it's really, it's not the sound dismissive, right? It's just a simple fact of the matter. When you sit there and you look at the code and you look at the math, you look at the structure, the value proposition between A, B, and C, you know, it's just very clear to see what exactly is going on. And this is why we need to take that approach. You know, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce and think that you actually have a clue when you're just relying on, what's the best way to put it? Really secondhand information for the most part. Because it's not firsthand, right? If it was firsthand, you wouldn't even need an intermediary in the first place. So, you know, it's little things like that that kind of make people's analysis fall off the mark. And it's not by choice, right? Everybody wants to be right. It's just sometimes it's difficult to see the forest when you're standing in trees. So that's very, I mean, that's clearly a common thing, right? And that's kind of like why my analysis is very non-linear, right? Because the way I look at things is with relation to currencies. Like even when I talk to my friends, and Maddie is done, so people should start running over shortly. Let's see here. Just to see the numbers. All right, we got 30 heads in here. What's going on, Crypto King, Hex Monkey, Big Man? What's going on? Glad you guys could join. Abbott, thank you for coming through, brother. Maddie sent you. That's funny. Shout out to Maddie. If anybody wants to join, let me know. I can throw a link in the chat, and people can come join. Hex Toshi, what's going on? This is gonna be, what's going on, Hex Mac? This is gonna be a macro-focused conversation with Hex sprinkled in, and the whole objective of these streams that I'm gonna do now, what's going on, Crypto 303, is just to essentially put everybody on, not on my level, right? Because it's not about me being on a level or you being on a level, but just helping you begin to understand the big picture, why Hex is supreme, because that's kind of what helps me understand the big picture, or helps me understand why Hex is superior. It's more so what's going on, Blaze, Machiavelli, Melvatoni, Big, what? Is this a joke? Fuck is this? I actually don't follow the Fed, guys. I stopped following the Fed probably, I don't know, like 6 years ago. But we're gonna talk about all that. That's gonna be part of the conversation. Unhexable's going on. DJ Allo, I guess, the Jallo, Timothy Benjamin was going on. QC Organics, what's up? El Hexadente was going on. Nas Hex was going on. I'm still working on the charts, guys, but we're going to have a nice conversation. And I guess what I'll do is I'll work from the opposite way of what I wanted to, which is back to front. But that's okay, because, you know, when you're unprepared like I usually am due to time constraints, you just roll with the punches. So that's okay. We're going to roll with the punches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reorganize my slide deck, and we're going to just get started. And it'll work out, because it always does, right? And that'll be that. So yeah, this is going to be a great conversation, because it's really going to be, hey, look, if anybody wants to join before we even get into it, let me know. I'm going to throw a StreamYard link in the chat. I just ask that you, of course, be professional, because I'm a professional and I don't want to have to kick you behind if you're unprofessional. So let's see here. Let me get the, here we go. Anybody is welcome to join. Again, this is a constructive conversation. We're all here to learn. So if anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome. And of course, if something doesn't make sense, call me out on it, because I run on fumes most of the time. And a lot of the information that I'm giving you is stuff I'm pulling out of my hard drive, aka my brain. This isn't stuff that I've been doing. Yeah, word up. Due to time constraints, we're gonna get these t-shirts. That's right, Machiavelli. That's what this. I mean, at the end of the day, this was what my that's what my streams are all about, right? Because it's all about getting those money printers. It's all about getting your money up, right? And that's why we're here. What's going on, Bit Finesse? You can join, brother, if you like. Maddie, of course, you can join. I threw a link in the chat. Anybody is welcome to join the stream because this is going to be a constructive stream. Again, my objective is to just help everybody understand what it is that I see, because it's very easy for me to say $10 in this year, but it's very hard for everybody else to see why it's so easy for me to see that. So my objective is to kind of force you guys to see it, because trust me, it's obvious. It's not a secret. And hell, you know, it's kind of crazy, right? Because we're at a point in time where understanding all of this nonsense is going to make you so fucking rich that you're not going to believe other people can't see it. Because I have to go through all of these steps just so you can understand one simple thing. But this one simple thing is something that even the most astute professional does not fucking get. And this is why it's so important to have this specific type of conversation segregated up on it to itself. Machiavelli is joining us. All righty. What's going on, brother?
What up? How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. All right, we got Mitchell joining. That's what I'm talking about. We got some more big dogs joining the stream. What's going on, guys? Mitchell, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, man?
Going well, going well. Thank you guys for joining.
I'm here to learn and get fucked in the head.
That's right. That's right. That's all we got here, man. Because again, you know, it's easy to see you have to make money, right? It's not easy to understand why. It's not easy to understand how. Because even with my colleagues, right, I work on Wall Street. Even the people that work on Wall Street don't understand what actually generates returns. And when you're sitting there and you're looking at a portion of equity investments, you're looking at a portion of fixed income investments, you're looking at a portion of structured investments, which can sometimes be a mix between equity and debt in terms of structure. You know, there's a lot of things going on out there that people just aren't even aware of, right? And it's not so much that they're not aware of it, right? But it's that it's hidden from them, right? And that's the bigger crux of the issue. You know what? I think I'm gonna nah, you know what? I'm not gonna do that to you guys. I know you guys are waiting for charts, so we'll do the charts this stream. I was gonna do two separate things, but nah, I don't think people are gonna be happy with that. So let me just keep the charts in here, and we'll just rock out. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm reorganizing the slide deck so that we can start talking about the macro stuff while I work on the charts, because they're not done yet. And that way we can at least get this party started and in motion. And that way, let me see, make sure nobody else is trying to join. Okay, no, it's just us. And that way we can at least not be stuck in limbo waiting on me, because I can talk about this stuff without actually having to look at anything. So let me get organized here. And
just to give you a shout out, man, all the visuals that you're putting up together, they're giving us the bigger picture. And that's huge, man, because when you're presenting it to some people, they get it right away when they see charts. Some people that look at charts, it's like, oh, damn, that's what I can buy right now.
Right.
And it's just, I mean, we always talk about it every now and then, I mean, with other streamers and everything. But when you put those graphs together, it's like, here, hey, follow this guy and then just check out his charts. And then they come back to me and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they're sold. Like, so yeah, man, I appreciate I really appreciate your work, man. Appreciate it.
Look, that to me is the biggest compliment, brother. I really appreciate that, because that was really, you know, I remember sitting just in the cut, right? I'm nobody. I just came out of nowhere. I saw everybody on Twitter just acting super negative towards Hex, and I just could not understand why for the life of me, because it's so straightforward, right? It's super straightforward, but I didn't understand then what I understand now, and it's just the crowd is just entirely different. You know, and it just lends credence to how much things can change in the matter of 10 years, right? And this is why I'm doing these streams.
And I'm really glad you came out, because there are a couple of my friends that were hidden in, I don't know where the hell they were, but I didn't know they were listening to what I was saying on social media until they came out, and they're like, "Who's this Richard guy? Who's this? What?" I'm like, "Are you serious? So you just been listening to me all this time, but you never researched who's the founder or what t-shirts are?" There's a lot of people out there that are just not. I mean, they own it, but they didn't even know what the hell they're owning. Like, they don't even know what they're holding.
That's typical.
So it's like once they come out, it's like everybody adds a little bit of value, and I mean, it just compounds value.
That's right.
In that aspect.
That's right. That's right. And that's why, you know, I tell people, even if they're not doing anything to the level that I'm doing, which is streaming, right, which isn't anything out of this world. The reality is that everybody has the ability to add value in one shape, way, or form, because everybody has a skill. Like, for example, just to mention this one gentleman, Crypto Vince, he's the guy that usually does the timestamps. Now, I do a lot of shit in my, you know, I've done a lot of shit in my day, but there's one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit here and timestamp a video. Period. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to do it. I don't care how beneficial it is to the viewer, because guess what? Your ass can sit there and fucking scroll through the damn little timeline, the little time scroll thing, just like everybody else can. Right. And this is 2021. You know, do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got the time for that shit. So do it yourself. And it's, you know, that's just what it is. So that guy goes out of his way to give us timestamps, along with Markable Hex. He's another gentleman. He has his own YouTube channel as well. These are two people, right, that go out of their way to do something as menial as that timestamp. But look at the value that adds, right? That adds supreme value, right? More so than even the stream itself.
Yeah, and everybody just gathers together just as to help each other out in a way that, I mean, when I first came into the scene, I mean, I wanted to start my channel to debate people, because I mean, nobody was doing debates. I love debating,
right?
Because and then Brand was helping me out to do the stream yards. I'm like, oh, so this is when you invite people, right? But then I stopped doing my whole channel because everybody's a freaking retard in here. Like, nobody's like, I even put a bounty on Facebook, like, hey, $1,000, come on in. Who wants to debate?
Right.
But then I realized, like, that's a waste of time, because nobody's stepping up. I mean, heck, I'll even defend Bitcoin a lot better than these guys.
Well, that's the funny thing, right? When you sit here and you look at what's being displayed versus what's not, right? And you look at, could you mind muting yourself? Who is that? That must be Market Valley. Hold on, dude. It's all right. You move around. Just unmute yourself when you're done.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, just unmute yourself when you're done, bro. But that's the thing, right? Like, you have to be objective when it comes to allocating capital. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. I don't care if it's for fucking 20 years, right? You have to be objective, because the risk of losing it is real, right? And until you don't lose it, the risk of losing it is still there, right? So you have to act and behave in accordance with that. Right. But, you know, people don't know how to respect risk, because a lot of people are just, you know, have money handed to them. You know what I mean? So that's not to say there's something bad with that. But when you don't know how to earn money and you don't have a respect for something, that changes the dynamic of how you treat it. Right. And that's just a fact of the matter. That's not my opinion. That's just how it works. Right. So it's understanding things like that, you know, like when you look at a stock market, right, for example, just how it operates, how it functions, just who invests in it, who benefits from it, right? Just from a big picture perspective, right? You see that the average American is not the person that benefits from the stock market. So then you have to ask yourself, why? How is that? Because the way they talk about it on TV, they sure as hell make it seem like they do, right?
That
But
is
that's,
so true.
yeah, it's not the case. It's not the case at all. In fact, about maybe 10% of the American population benefits from the stock market. Maybe, right? And I mean in a significant way, not your 401k. That shit does nothing for you. If a 401k mattered, right, you wouldn't have people fucking trying to day trade, fucking Robinhood and shit like that, right?
And they got all your info too, because I mean, and they always sell that information to other people, other hedge funds, I mean, that's what I've been hearing. It's like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, they do sell it because they're allowed to, right? And again, it's all about how the game is played. And my objective is not so much to go into that, because the reality is that in crypto, you deal with that if you want to, right? People put money on exchanges all the time because they choose to, right? I think if you've been in crypto for longer than a week, you already know, not your keys, not your coin. Now, if you choose to ignore that message, right, that's on you. It's not on anybody else. So it's your fault, right? It's not anybody else's fault. And that's the thing that people have to realize. When you're stepping into crypto, custody of your assets is one thing. When you're talking about legacy finance, custody of your assets is something entirely different. But that's the cool thing about crypto. When it comes to custodying your assets, you don't have to worry about a third party or even a second party, because there's literally only one party. And that's if you want there to be one party, right? So, it's important to understand that you also have to be, right, involved in the process, right? You can't just be a person that is just there in the way, not trying to be involved in anything, because what ultimately ends up happening is that you get sideswiped, right? And when you get sideswiped, it's usually what happens when you get smashed, as in Hulk smashed, right? Like, not something you want. So, when you're looking at things from the big picture, again, I have the bad habit of looking at things from the big picture. So sometimes I miss the details, right? So it's very important to understand how it is that you look at things, because, having that proper vantage point is always going to set you up, right, for having that right analytical vantage point. Because that's really what makes Hex so easy for me to understand. That's why I can see a $10 price tag. Well, that's why I could see one before Richard Hart said anything, right? Now, he streamed the other day, talked about all the fun stuff he talked about. And just to make a long story short to his stream, because we've all seen it, we've all talked about it, right? The long story short of it is that Hex should be its own ecosystem, right? It should be its own thing. It should be something that, well, let me not say it should be. It has the ability to be something that, allows a whole economy to be built on it, right? Like, people just have to understand we're coming from an economy where we started with rates at 15, 20%, approximately 30 years ago at this point. And now we're down to zero, right? But the cool thing about Hex is that it's the opposite of what we're used to seeing, right? We're used to seeing the price of money being manipulated. That's not how Hex works. Hex is completely the opposite. Hex sends, it sets a value proposition, right? It gives you a measuring stick. It says, hey guys, this is how the system is going to work in terms of value. This is how the value is dictated. And this is what we have to deal with. These are the parameters within which we have to operate. The T-share rate is dependent on this and that, right? And that's just what it is. Now, as you guys are going to come to find out in a couple minutes, as we go through just the fractional reserve banking system and what it is at a base level, you're going to come to see that this shit is insane. And how the fuck do these people get away with it? Because the fact of the matter is, none of us can do what they can do. And if we were allowed to, then we would not have to work. You know what I'm saying? Well, you'll see why. You'll see why. Because this shit here is crazy. So let's get into it. You guys can unmute yourselves and ask questions as you see fit as I go through this. As you guys know, I'm working on charts too as we go through this. So disclaimer, the information displayed in this broadcast is known to cause increased amounts of FOMO. Wales only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Don't forget, your balance sheet is your greatest asset, not your cell finger. So here we go. Today's macro talk is going to be on fractional reserve banking. Now, what is fractional reserve banking? Fractional reserve banking is any bank that you've basically been to if you've grown up in America or any Western country or any Western type society in the past 20, 30 years. And in layman's terms, it's just when somebody gives a bank $10 and then they go on ahead and lend out $9 against those $10. Now, that was a whole lot in a little, right? Now, why is that? Well, we have to remember, banks don't make money until we allow them to. And how is that? We allow banks to make money by using them. Yes, we allow banks to destroy us because we allow banks to destroy us. How about that one? Bet you guys weren't expecting that shit, huh? Yeah. So that's fact number one that you didn't know, because you're tricked into using banks because you're taught to think a certain way about money, right? But here we are in 2021 coming to the realization like, oh shit, this whole fucking thing has been a lie. You don't need a fucking bank. And that's right. Just like you didn't need a bank before 1850, you don't need a bank after 1950. Just like you didn't need one anytime in between. Now, why is that? Well, it's very simple. If you did need a bank, they wouldn't have to create money out of thin air in order to survive, right? So what do I mean? Well, banks realized a long time ago, before fractional reserve banking was an actual thing with a term, because fractional reserve banking has been in existence for eons. It's not new to our era. It's been in existence since before the Roman times. You can literally find artifact proof, historical proof of fractional reserve banking in coins from eons ago. And that comes in the form of, let's say, a silver coin or a gold coin from 2, 3, 4, 5 BC, whatever. And what happens in those coins is, if it's a pure coin, a coin that's valid, not counterfeit or not debased, right? And we're going to end up getting into all of this. Now, I'm just going to warn you guys, this stream of macro streams is going to fucking take months, because there's a lot to unpack. Because it's easy for me to say Hex is the shit because I know it to be a fact. Now, what I'm going to walk through is all of the reasons why, from a big picture perspective, all the way down to a little picture, right? And the only way that happens is by you guys understanding the system the way that I do. So the only thing that I can do is show you what I know to be true, right? Because again, these are things that I put together after work so you can see them before I actually start streaming. It's not even like I'm like doing a whole research thesis on this shit. This is just what the facts are. And this is stuff that I can find anywhere, literally within minutes, and put it together on a PowerPoint and just show it to you, because that's literally the only kind of time I have. So that's important to understand. That just lends credence to the fact that when I tell you guys, I'm not here to tell you what's true. I'm here to show you what's true so you can go and do your own research, right? because that's also important. I'm just a conduit of this information. I am not the source of it. And I want you guys to understand that I'm here to help you on your mission. I'm not here to dictate what your mission is. I'm here to help you on your mission. So it's important to understand that. And it's important to take the information that I'm relaying very seriously, because there's a reason I'm screaming from the rooftop. Oh, don't worry, lights out. You haven't missed much. We're just getting started. I'm still working on charts. We're only 30 minutes in, so let me give you guys a little gist of what's happened since everybody was kind of at Maddie's and now here. Long story short, I'm still working on the charts. That's number one, which is cool. So what's going to end up happening because of that is I'm going to do the macro talk first, which is fine because I think it'll work out just fine, because the whole objective of this series of talks is for me to explain to you guys what it is I see from the big picture. And that's why I think it's okay to go from back to front, or at least what I think to be back to front. Nah, I don't do hookahs, brother. But so, you know, my whole objective is to just give you guys the big picture as I see it, so you guys can understand why you are literally in the best investment in history. It's very, very, I mean, it's so straightforward to me that I don't understand what people don't see. And that's not to say that I'm smarter than anybody, because I'm not. But it's just a simple fact of the matter that I know certain tidbits of information that everybody else does not. And that's the only reason why. So it's my objective to share with you guys all of this information, because here's the thing. I've been doing this for a long fucking time, right? So what I'm going to try to do is condense 10 years of knowledge into a couple years or a few streams, right? And that's going to be hard, but I'm going to try to make it concise. I'm going to try to make it impactful. I'm going to try to make it worth your time, because the fact of the matter is that when you focus on the tidbits that are important, you can ultimately figure out the shit that doesn't matter, right? And the shit that doesn't matter is the ancillary stuff that you can fill the gaps in with later. So just give me 1 second, guys. I'm putting myself on mute. I got to do something real quick.
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm having troubles with my mic right now, so I'm like,
oh, okay, okay, no, not a problem.
No, it's all good. I got this damn Yeti, but no, you're right. No, but so everybody that's listening right now, keep something in consideration. A lot of people go out the traditional route and get in debt for like 6 figures or more, depending on where you're going, just to get a degree. But when it comes to actually listening to some of these stuff like Wales is talking about, he's just like Richard. He gives you the measurements to go over there in the world and measure it yourself, and then make your own decisions on things. So it's crazy that a lot of people do the traditional route, but when it comes to actually, hey, check this video out. I just got a complaint from somebody that, hey, this video is too long. I'm like, are you serious?
Yep, they are very serious.
You went to a 4-year, 6-year, 8-year to get your master's degree? How many hours did you put on that thing? Seriously.
Preach.
How much money did you put in that? And here I got my buddies, a bunch of retards that made 6 figures within a year with a couple G's.
Wow.
Who are you willing to listen to? Some just I'm not being hostile about it. It's just weird.
No. It's not. Here's the thing, right? And you know, there's this guy that he has a very good talk on this, and he's from the legacy side. He's a trader. He's been trading for a long time, but you know, it's very difficult to see the conflict of interest, right, between what our parents teach us or tell us and what we think to be true, and what we think the definition of success is, and what we think is are the right actions to take in conjunction with what it is that we want to do with our lives, right? Like if you look at, like, for example, I'm from New York City. Anytime you meet somebody from outside New York City, they think it's some fucking big hot shit, right? When in reality, it's just like everywhere else. It's not even cool like it used to be anymore. It's literally just like any fucking where else in America. Because what's happened is that they've gone out of their way to make it so, right? And that's literally what's happened, right? And here's the thing. This is what they do with everything, right? They take it, they distort it into a way that works for them, right? And the beautiful thing about it is that you guys are going to get a ground level understanding of how it is that they do things, because the fractional reserve banking system is a great lesson in how they make things appear better than they really are. And we see this every day, right? And this is the beautiful thing about what you're going to learn from me. It's not just going to be hoopla, right? It's easy to, and just so you guys know, I'm not looking at the chat. So if there's anything you guys need me to look at, please, have somebody scream it to me or something, because I can't see it because I'm working on these charts and shit.
Okay. Just someone was saying Richard Hart might be live in 35 minutes.
Fuck! You kidding me?
No way.
Well, I guess we'll have to reschedule this one for later. Hold on, I gotta see the. Oh, Limon, I'm not Vin Diesel, brother. What's wrong? What's wrong with people thinking I'm somebody else? What the fuck?
Vin Diesel.
On. Yeah, no, not Vin Diesel. I mean, if I had his money, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm definitely not him. Oh shit. Yep, he is. All righty. All right, guys. So we're gonna cut this shit short because there's no point. Sorry. So okay, what I'll do is I'll run through a little quick background on the fractional reserve banking, just to give you guys a little taste, because he is gonna stream in 35 minutes. Turns out. So
we can do part two. We can do part two. No worries.
Well, yeah, this will just be a little precursor to what's coming, and we can try this again at some other point in time. No biggie, because Wales is not gonna leave you guys hanging high and dry. I need you guys to see what I see, because Hex is easily worth more than Bitcoin. And I mean Hex, not the T-share, motherfucking Hex. And the only way you guys can see that is by understanding the system at large. And I'm going to give you guys that vision because it's really not hard to see. It's really not. So let's go on ahead and start with just what fractional reserve banking is. So fractional reserve banking is the most common form of banking practiced worldwide, primarily in Western society. Banks are required to keep a fraction of the deposits made by customers. And typically that's less than 10%. It used to be at least 10%. But after everything that's happened since 2000 and moving on forward, that's always changing because, as you guys know, they make it up as they go along. And the way it works is that customers deposit their cash in the bank. The bank is then able to lend, it's really more than 90% of that cash deposited out, right? And now that amount that's been lent out becomes an asset for the bank, believe it or not, right? So think about this. You give your damn cash to a bank, right? You're giving your money to a bank for them to hold and secure, because this is the purpose of a bank. The purpose of a bank is for it to securely hold your cash. It is not for them to go out and play fucking hooky with your shit. You feel me? So that's something that you have to understand. When banks were first created, they looked the way that they looked then, like they do now. Now, I don't know if you guys been outside lately, but if in case you forgot what a bank looks like a fucking vault from the outside. It looks a certain way. A bank looks like a prestigious building. It looks like something that, it looks like some impenetrable fortress, right? It looks like a safe, secure, grandeur building. It looks like something that you're just not, you put money into it. It looks serious, right?
A prestigious building, pretty much.
A prestigious building. I mean, that's the thing. I'm saying it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I'm saying it in so many different ways because I want people to understand what their intention is with that design, right? That's all by design. All by design. And I think all by design, right? So you have this idea generated where you are no longer in the best custody of your assets by you keeping them on your own property. This is how banking was started in our era. Don't keep your money buried in a tin can in your backyard underground. That's not safe. Somebody will come and dig it out. I don't know who, because unless you were telling, who the hell was going to know? But that's just my logic. Even back in 1800 something, doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't. But when you're an unsuspecting person, right, thinking somebody's trying to do what's right, you're going to believe some nonsense like that because guess what? In the 1800s, there probably weren't a bunch of white-collar criminals like there are today. So it's hard to see, right, something that you don't know exists. And I think that's why we've gotten to where we've gotten today. But we'll get into all of those details. So you have a bank, you give them $10, they can now lend out $9.2 against your $10, right? So now all of a sudden, that bank is worth $19.20. Boom, like that. It's fucking magic. Just like that. And that's how banking works. Literally. You give them $1, they lend out 92 cents against your dollar. Period. They are now worth $1.92. If somebody pays you X dollars at payday, guess what? You're not worth 90% more. How come? That's a good question. No? I think it's a pretty good question. Don't you guys think that's a good question? I think that's a fucking good question. Because I don't get a 90% equity pump when I get a paid fucking check. I can't just take the money that's given to me by my employer and lend out, right, for a return to anybody.
So it's all based on loans, right?
Correct. Oh, we're going to get there. Correct. So the customer deposits their cash to a bank. The bank is then able to lend 90% of that cash deposited, right? So then now that amount that they lent out becomes an asset to the bank, right? It becomes an account receivable, and that an account receivable because now they've taken those dollars that are yours. That's really what's happening here, and loaned them out to a third party so that they can then make a return on those funds. That's what's really happening. And like magic, the bank is now 90% more valuable. Poof. How about that?
What?
Gotta love it. Because that's how it works. Now, this is just a numerical example so you guys can understand. And this is using 10% as the capital ratio, right? So if you deposit 100,000, your bank loans out 90,000. If you deposit 90,000, your bank loans out 81,000, and so on and so forth. Now, there's something called the multiplier effect, right? And this is what 2009, 2010, all the QEs were all about, right? It looks like Richard is going to go live soon. Let's see if we can get a time going. Nope, no time going. Still same shit. So I'll keep going until he starts, basically. Not a problem. So where was I? So QE. Shout out to Juicy Smollett for that fucking name. I swear to God, every time I see the dude's name, I laugh like a motherfucker. Oh my God. You know what's funny? I was really good at accounting because I never went to class. You should have joined me. So fuck with the accounting class. That shit was a bore. You could have just read the book, bro.
That was probably the best class I had in high school.
Yeah, I mean that shit is super easy, man.
That was a little bit of a foundation to my business. It's like, oh, okay, liabilities, assets, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Anyways, continue, bud. Because you're the warm up show to Richard right now.
Right. Yeah, true. So okay, so QE. What was that about? QE was all about this, literally. It would go. So why? The reason why is because, like I've explained before, and we're going to get into that. We haven't gotten there. And that's how detailed this is going to be, because this is a journey through what is going on. Or what's going on with our financial system and how the hell we got here, really. So QE was there to essentially prop up the system. That was the goal of it, not what really happened, right? So when you think about QE, their objective was to give banks funding so that they can then loan out funds. So it was akin to the Fed being the depositor of last resort in this case, so that the banks would thereby loan out to whoever needed loans, right? Loan out, make loans to whoever needed it, right? So that was what the objective was, right? To essentially create the multiplier effect in aggregate, but that's not what happened. As we all know, the banks ended up keeping the funds themselves, and they just paid themselves, and they just went the financial way of the system, meaning that they just took part in buying back stocks, buying back bonds, buying back whatever the fuck they could buy back, because guess what? The Fed said, hey guys, we don't care about CapEx. We actually don't want you guys to invest. We want you guys to make money off financialization of assets. That's what we actually want. And how do I know this is what they said, because that's what the fuck QE was. The banks were not forced to lend out that capital. That capital was given to them with no restraints in that regard. So it's very important to understand that, right? Because anytime they do something, they do it deliberately. They don't do it by mistake. So it's very important to understand. And we'll keep going, because again, this is going to be a very high level overview. I'm not going to get into the detail I wanted to, because we got an important stream coming up. So here's just another breakdown, another way to view it, right? You got bank over here with a bunch of deposits, right? Now, the amount deposited is what you're seeing in the blue column. The amount held is what you're seeing in the green column. The amount loaned out is what you're seeing in the pink column, right? Now, I want to bring you over to the right side of the screen, where we have something that's akin to a general ledger. A ledger is something that details assets and liabilities, and all we're doing is we're tabulating incoming and outgoing assets and, deposits and credits and debits, basically, into the assets and liabilities. That's all we're doing on a ledger. So as you can see here, a deposit for a bank, i.e. the money you give the bank when you put your cash in a bank, i.e. when you get paid, i.e. anytime you give the bank any of your money, that money is actually a liability for the bank. But the funny thing is that it's also an asset. Now, this is when I would normally get into my spiel of this is why when you put money in your bank, it's not yours. Get it? Because if you go to a bank, right, and you got $100,000 in there, you go there and try to get that $100,000 out cash. If you want, let me know how that goes for you, because it's not gonna. And that's the whole point. And this is why. Imagine, this is how bank runs happen, actually. Imagine you got 10 people, just like the 10 people on this list. These 10 people deposited 100, 80, 64, 51, 40, 32, 26, 20, 16, 13, right? Let's assume these are the number, each individual deposit. The bank only held out of those deposits $100 out of 446. And they lent out 3.5 times. So the bank is actually 3.5 times levered, right? Their equity base is actually 0. But that's not how it's reviewed. That's not how it's displayed. But when you're looking at the math, that's exactly what's going on. Because in reality, all of this shit here is just fucking words made up by persons. This is not math. The math here dictates you gave an entity $100 or $446 in this case, they're only holding $100 as security. That's the actual collateral in the system. It's $100 when it should be $446. So the delta is the leverage embedded in the system, right? And this is how the Western banking system works. Period. This is why the cost of money is important to understand. You're always going to be behind because you're never, ever meant to be ahead. Even when you put your money in a bank, you're already out 90% of it automatically. I hope we got some light bulbs turning on out there tonight.
Yeah, that's what when you sorry, go ahead.
That's what Richard's talking about, the debt-based system. It's a system based off of debt, while HEX is a system based on valuing time.
Correct. Oh, we're getting there. This is just step one.
And even if you want to get even if you want to get like $100,000 from your account, they're gonna be like, "Hey, fill up this form, and what the hell you want it for?" I'm like, "Hey, it's my money, damn it. Look, what the hell's wrong with you?"
So let me tell you guys, I probably said this a few times before, but my job is basically KYC type shit, right? So what's KYC type shit? KYC type shit is know your customer. That's bank talk for violate your fucking financial privacy and all kind of privacies if possible. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So this is why, right, when you put your money in a bank, it is not yours. This is why you need to step away from the fiat system. This is why when you get paid in dollars, put that shit in fucking crypto. Because as long as you leave your money under their control, it is not your money. It is never your money when it's under their control. This is why we always preach, not your keys, not your coins. This is why we always preach, put your money in crypto, segregated wallets. Don't share your phrase keys, your seed phrases. Don't share your keys. Don't do anything like that. Fiat is not money, right? Fiat means trust. It means believe in. It means to trust, and it means faith. That's what fiat means. It's a Latin word for faith, to believe in. It means the shit is fake. If money was real, they wouldn't be able to print it at a whim.
Nailed it.
Right? Yep. If our money was worth anything, we wouldn't have to pay taxes because they can print it ad infinitum. They could print it at their whim. So why are we paying taxes? Why are we keeping our money in banks? Why do banks need bailouts? Why do banks need to get bailed in? Why? When they can print it all. Clearly, they've been printing it all for a long time. And I'm about to show you guys because we're about to get to that right now. So let's talk about the money in the monetary system. Let's follow the money. Let's follow the money. Right? So follow my, you know what? Let me change the coloring here because this is going to be important for you guys to see. Let's change the color. Let's choose something.
Oh, this is great.
Hey, man, I come with nothing but fire. I hope this looks a little bit better. Let's try to get the opacity here.
It's my tuition right here.
Something like that.
You gotta know this stuff.
You do. No, you do. This is why I'm going through it, because it's important for everybody to understand. They need to understand that there's no reason to sell Hex. I'm sorry. Like literally. You're selling Hex for what? To throw value away? Like I just don't get the thought process. You literally are looking to, I can't help it if the screen's blurry. I'm sorry. I think that might just be the image that you're looking at, because I literally just copy pasted this shit from a Google search or a DuckDuckGo search. Sorry, because I don't use Google. So that's probably why. But what you can search is U.S. monetary system, and you'll find, flow charts like this. So let me just walk through it. So there's a lot to unpack here. So where do we start? we really start at the commercial bank, right? And the reason we started the commercial bank is because the commercial banks are really, and it's kind of weird because the commercial banks and M1 are kind of tied together, right? And the reason being because people want to deposit their money in a bank no matter what, right? People want to deposit the money in a bank because that's what they're used to, right? So when we think of M1, what is M1? M1 consists of currency outside the U.S. Treasury, Federal Reserve banks, and the vaults of depository institutions. Demand deposits at commercial banks, excluding those amounts held by depository institutions, the U.S. government, and foreign banks and official institutions. Less cash items in the process of collection and Federal Reserve float. Now, look, this is all a bunch of shit to unpack, right? This is a lot. But the thing I wanted to highlight, because this is important for everybody to understand, is how they just go about changing the definition of things and what they are as time passes. It's very important to understand, because this is why I always say, you think GDP is useful, you think all these economic metrics are useful, but what you don't know is that they change how they measure them in your face. And nobody's the wiser, because guess what? They're not putting a sign up and letting you know.
It's the fine print. It's the fine print.
Exactly. They're not putting a sign up and they're not letting you know. So we went from 1 month currency, the M1 being all of this stuff, right? Let me see where it changes. Last times cash, another deposit, yeah, we're gonna have to save this for the next stream, but it changes in a very interesting way. And the way that it changes is right here. Where is it? At the end. So you see here, it says after Federal Reserve float up here, number 3, and 3 other checkable deposits consisting of negotiable order of withdrawal and automatic transfer service accounts at depository institutions, share draft accounts at credit unions, and demand deposits at thrift institutions, right? So when we come here, all that shit is pretty much gone. Why is that? It's a very good fucking question.
What?
Isn't it?
What the fuck?
Yeah, they just basically obliterated a shitload of institutions. Why is that? Good question. We'll come back to that at some point in the future. But these are the kind of things that you need to think about, right? So now when they talk about M2, they talk about M2 consists of M1, so all of the regular cash deposits, right? So when we're talking about M1, we're talking about currency outside the Treasury and outside the Federal Reserve Bank system, right? So that means us. Whatever money we persons have, whatever money we private businesses have, whatever money that isn't within the Federal Reserve system, right? And now this is why I wanted to show you guys this. Commercial banks, right? U.S. Treasury, right? Open Market Committee, Federal Reserve Board, discount window, secondary security market, primary security market, M1, M2, M3, demand deposits, cash, loans, like all of these terms actually have definitions, right? And this is why we're only going to go over this stuff now. We really can't dabble into it because this is so good. Oh, wait. Hexcoin, don't worry. We're going to get to IMF SDRs. Hey, look, when I say you guys never need to sell Hex, I'm not fucking joking. I'm really not joking. The notion that you think you have to sell it just goes to show your lack of understanding of the financial system under which we currently live. Because the fact of the matter is that you're better off holding stacks of logwood than you are US dollars. And that's a fact. Because there's going to come a point in time where your ass isn't even going to be able to pay for fucking energy with US dollars. And that's a mathematical fact. Period. How do I know this? Because you cannot debase the shit any further. It's not my opinion. It's just what's coming. It's only a matter of when, not a matter of if. So let's see. All right. This is all we got here. What I want to do now is I want to share. These charts aren't up to date yet, guys. Sorry. I will end up doing a video and releasing it probably tomorrow morning so everybody can just see the charts from tonight, which is cool. Let me see if Richard is close to going on yet. I don't think so.
Hex coin talks to you, but my Hex coins don't talk to me. What the fuck?
Yeah, right. I wish. Let's see. Nope.
Can you imagine if it's like, hey, we're about to launch?
Yeah, I
Richard
wish.
Comes out. I'm like, oh,
I wish.
What
if
the
only
hell?
it was like, hey, buy me, bro. I'm about to go up.
I'm about to go to my bank and just buy more right now. Hold on, thought.
Oh, only if, right? All right. So I wanted to go through some charts with you guys. And this is just the money stock that we're talking about, right? Now, I just read the definition of what M1 is to you guys, right? I just read it to you. But yet somehow M1 still shot up. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to do the math because I didn't do the rate of change on this chart. Let's do it right now. Billions of dollars, no. Percentage change from a year ago. Okay, all right. Let's do monthly. And let's see how the chart changes. Oh, it already did. Whoops.
I was about to say what.
All right, guys. So look. This is what I need you guys to understand, okay? Because I'm fucking hold on, because this shit just sucks ass. Can you guys see that all right? This looks horrible to me. I don't know if you guys can see this. All right, this is as good as it's gonna get. All right. So M1 is supposed to be currency outside of the U.S. Treasury, Federal Reserve, banks, and the vaults of depository institutions. Demand deposits at commercial banks, excluding those amounts held by its depository institutions, the U.S. government, foreign banks, and official institutions. Less cash items being processed. Okay, so let's read that again. Currency outside of the U.S. Treasury, Federal Reserve Bank, and the vaults of those depository institutions. So the way this reads, it sounds like, oh shit, I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to cause a dip here. Sorry. Fuck. 1.32 cents, guys. Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about what I think Hex is gonna do right now. I'll save that for this weekend. I'm gonna do a special quant stream on the weekend just for that. Because this, like, again, I've been saying $10 since I got on these fucking streams, and I know you guys now see it, but you still don't. Trust me, because it's very easy, and people still don't get it.
I see 500.
Oh, well, here's the thing. I see 50,000. I'm not even fucking joking, because people have to understand 40% does not exist anywhere on this planet. It's that simple.
Right.
You got pieces of shit like Aave trading at 400. Get the fuck out of here. You got shit like Celsius, which is just another fiat system, trading at 5, 4, whatever the fuck is trading at. I don't know. But I'm just making a simple mathematical, economical, financial observation, right? You got 3 things that aren't worth a damn. Period. Don't have any economic value, are literally centralized risk behemoths, but yet they're all good. Is that right? Don't think so. Don't quite think so. Not really how it works, because you have to understand how monetary systems work. Again, if you are borrowing from your bud, now I'm going to describe Celsius, take notes. If you are borrowing $100 from your buddy, and then he wants to come back and pay you $80. How does that work? It doesn't.
Right.
But when you're in something like Celsius, now I'm pretty sure they do partially collateralized loans. I'm pretty sure it's LTV to some degree and not 100% or over the value, right? But the point here is that when you're operating within a system that keeps everything centralized, meaning there's no decentralization, meaning everything is circular, right? Meaning everything is dependent on everything else. Once one peg out of that series of gears goes out of place, that's it. This is why our monetary system is a shit show. Because once one of these gears gets out of place, that is it, right? Because the complexity has become such that all it takes is one misstep, in conjunction with the fact that we don't have an actual monetary system. What we have is a monopoly board. What we have is a monopoly game, right? Because when you can do shit like this, what are you selling any crypto for dollars for exactly? You explain to me, except for the need to pay for shit with dollars.
Because dollars are accepted. Like
that's it. But that's the only reason, right?
Pretty much. If people were smart, they'd be like, hey, give me like some HEX and
anything but dollars. Literally. Anything but dollars. Yeah, literally anything but dollars, right? So here's the M2 money stock, right? Now, this is just the money stock, the just what's being printed, right? What's being generated by the system, right? So this is, come on, give me a second, guys. This is just a pain in my ass. All right, so this is the original graph of the M1, right? Now, let me, why is it doing this? Let me go 10 years. Let me go 5. Well, this is a joke. And we're the fucking butt of it. All right. So I think I'm just going to end it here because this is just fucking ridiculous. And I hadn't looked at this chart in years, to be honest with you guys, because I already fucking know. I don't need to look at it. But to look at it now and talk about this shit with you guys on the stream, I see that the job I have ahead of me is a whole lot fucking harder than I thought. And the reason being is because we went from a monetary base of $4 trillion in February 2020. 4 trillion. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? It means nothing. Because when we get to May, we've magically increased our monetary stock, our money stock, 4 times. Now, the question is, how the fuck did that happen? Because my pay didn't increase 4 times in 2 months. I didn't get, 4 times the money in my bank account in that period of time. So how the fuck did that happen? This is the wrong up and to the right. Yeah. This is not the right up. This is not the right up and to the right. This is the wrong one.
So what you're saying is that they printed out a lot of dollars between April and May 2020?
Yahtzee. And they continue to do so.
What was the percentage that they printed just last year alone? I've been hearing a couple of figures, but...
So let's see. We're going to find out right now. And we're going to end the stream with this because I know Richard, he's probably getting ready to load it up to the plate. So let's see.
You're getting quite an audience right now, so.
Oh, very nice. 104 watching. Thank you guys for joining. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to calculate the percentage change from a year ago on a monthly basis. And let's see what we get. All right. So right now, we are looking at, all right, so, okay. So let's start with January 2020. and what this chart is actually saying. What this chart is actually saying is, as of January 2020, the money stock increased 6.25% relative to a year ago. Okay? So when we go to February 2020, what it's saying is that the money stock increased again relative to last year at a rate of 6.4%. So you're looking at the money stock from February 2019, comparing it to the money stock in February 2020, and calculating the difference in the growth. So if it grew up, you're noting that change with a positive value, in this case, it being 6.4%. And if the growth was retractionary, then it would be a negative value. But since it was a positive value, we have a 6.4% value here. So now we go to March 2020. And suddenly we're at 14% increase year over year in the money stock. Okay, no biggie. Shit's getting crazy. Not a problem. Now we get to April. And April is when everybody started talking about 26, 20%, 30% year over year. And everybody they held on to that number for the rest of the motherfucking year. But they stopped talking about what happened after that. And this is why I don't understand who the hell is selling Hex and why, or any crypto for that fucking reason. Like, I don't give a fuck what you own. You just can't sell it because you're dumb if you do, unless you have to pay for something in dollars, right? Unless they're smart enough to accept crypto, because some people are starting to figure it out. And if they're smart and they watch this stream, then they'll really figure it out. So we're going from April to May. Prepare yourself, because now is when the party is started, right? Nobody mentions that fucking number. And that's the fucking number everybody should be fucking mentioning. Because guess what? Last fucking month, it was 355% over a year ago. 355% over a year ago. Now, I've been asked to check the U.S. debt clock. U.S. debt clock. I think it's .org, but I don't remember the... Yep, here we go. U.S. National Debt Clock.org. Now, we're going to ultimately discuss this, but I just want to impress something upon you. Okay. We have a money stock growth rate of 355% year over year as of January 2021. You have M2 money stock growth, which is all of M1 plus a bunch of other shit, i.e. credit cards, revolving credit, all types of credit, basically. And what I'm going to show you guys is the rate of change in the increase here. Because the thing you have to understand is this shit is not a game. The things I'm talking about here are mathematically true, and you can ignore them if you want, but that's on you. Because at the end of the day, come on, man. Let's go 1 year. Let's go again. Change from a year ago. Done. Boom. M3 for the US. Now, they stopped keeping track of this one. Oh, all right. Stream started for Richard. Have a good one, guys. We'll pick it up in the future. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Wales.
Of course.
Thank you, man.
Bye, guys.
Peace.